Hi, this is the natal chart reading for Alida. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I am going to start with talking about the big three, then we'll move to little three, and then talk about some outer planets influences as well as aspects. Sometimes I do go off track if something just starts pulling me into it, so I apologize. I'm going to try to keep this around 30 minutes so that it's not too much information at any given time, usually somewhere around the 30-minute mark. That's when it starts to get a little bit too much. So let's go right into it. Let's start with your big three. We're going to start with the ascendant or the rising sign. So for you, you have a Leo rising. That is how you are going to view new situations. That's how people are going to first view you. That is the energy that you give off to a new situation, but it's also how you view the lens of all that you experience. So when we have a fire rising sign with a fire sun sign, you give off a very um, fire energy, as meaning that you're very passionate about things. You can be very excitable. When you are feeling your emotions, you feel them fully. The range of emotion that you can experience is very hot and very cold. It's an all or nothing kind of approach to life. The life givers of the fire signs, they light the room up or they can blow it up. So either way, it's going to be a full experience. So when people meet you, you have the sun on you, so to speak, as a Leo rising is the natural ruler of Leo is the sun. So your chart ruler is the sun. Your sun is exalted in Aries. So no matter what you do in life, you are going to command the spotlight, whether you want it or not. It is like the dark stage, but the light is shining on you. People are going to notice what you do, where you go, what you say, what you look like. A Leo rising person, it can be a very expressive dresser or have some type of signature about them, even if they're not really into fashion. There's always something eye-catching about them. You might like a sparkle or some type of shimmer or gold accents. You It's something that just catches people's eye. So even before you say anything, when people see you, you're drawing attention. A lot of Leo risings are known for this like lioness mane of hair. Um, it's just noticeable. In a room of people, they're gonna, you know, glance around, but they might come back to look at you again for some reason. I know a lot of Leo risings that actually prefer to wear some type of like shiny piece just naturally that the light reflects off of them. And it almost is like there's a light shining on them. This unconscious attraction that you sometimes don't even know you're giving off. So it's something that a Leo rising person needs to have some type of audience. So you might find yourself in positions where you are the leader or you're in some kind of competitive situation and people are looking to you to decide how to respond, or you might be the person that gets everyone hyped up about something. You're somebody that is going to be drawn towards people and situations where there needs to be a level of excitement and engagement and passion. Your energy is the kind that is fueled more when you have a crowd that is cheering you on and you're cheering them on. The key to a Leo rising person is they want to be noticed for their genuine gifts. And it doesn't come from a place of being egocentric, it comes from a place of need, of recognition, of gifts. So the creative energy in the Leo rising person must be shared, because the Leo rising person needs to know, because other people have acknowledged that they have this great creative gift to share with the others, and they need to hear that. It's a reciprocation of gratitude from you being gifted and giving to others, and them understanding that it is a gift and telling you so. A Leo that has no crowd or audience, a Leo that's on a stage with no one present, is not being fulfilled in that. They need the other person to make sure that they know that their gifts are being received in the right light. So the performing piece of you, even if you don't desire to be an extroverted person, you're always going to find yourself in positions where there is someone else around, and you are showing your gifts in a way that you're waiting to hear the other side. You're always going to be waiting for the applause, sort of. You want that satisfaction, and it makes you feel more secure in your gifts. You have gifts that you want to share with people. You want to be recognized for your talents on some level, whatever that is. Okay, let's move on to your sun sign. Your sun sign is in the exalted Aries. So this just adds more fuel to your fire. Once you have an idea, the spark turns into a fire, the fire turns into a full inferno. And it is the Aries person that really is the cardinal energy of getting things started, of being the initiator. They're usually seen as some type of brave person or pioneering spirit, the trailblazer, the one that just goes headfirst into battle and doesn't wait to hear what everyone else is doing. There's this independent spirit and this confidence of, I got this. And this really helps that Leo rising out, because when you first come into a new situation, other people might know that the Leo rising person is very talented, but sometimes the Leo rising person doesn't know that right away, because it's a new situation. The rising sign, it's brand new. No one has told them yet, wow, like you're really gifted. So sometimes the Leo rising person can come off a little insecure because it's a new start and they don't have the reputation behind them that, yes, they have this talent. But with your Aries sun, it makes it like, oh, my whole chart is ruled by this sun. I am a confident person, and you're going to know it really fast, because that fire rising actually is just the spark of my whole presence. And I get the feeling that you're the kind of person that is pretty bold and, grabs life by the horns and just doesn't have a lot of pause before saying things or doing things. If you feel that it feels right, I think everyone's going to know it. I don't think that you do a lot of holding on to grudges. It's the Aries sun person that helps inspire us all to be bold, sometimes blunt, to show our cards, to wear our heart on our sleeve, to fight for the right to take up space. The Aries rising is the start, or excuse me, the Aries sun is the start of the zodiac, because it's the Aries energy that says, I'm alive and you're going to know it, and I belong here, and I'm ready to fight for that. I'm ready to fight for my space in this experience, in this life, and no one's going to take that away from me. So you're either on my side or you're against me, but let's do this, because I'm not going to give up my voice or my space. I'm going to take up all the space that I deserve, and everyone's going to benefit from it, because I'm very inspiring and passionate, and I have the energy to teach others how to be like that too, to lose the fear and embrace the boldness. That's the gift of the exalted sun. When we move to your moon sign, I see then that we change elements. So we went from this fire of passion, of movement, the yang energy of moving forward and out and on to the next thing, of influencing others, this movement of energy that catches others and and really sets people on fire, so to speak. So now this energy, this water energy of the moon, that is also very emotional and very intuitive. So an Aries sun person and a Cancer moon person, they have a lot of emotional energy going on. They're the kind of person that if they're emotionally connected to someone, they would go to war for them. They would do anything for the people they love, no questions asked. The ride or die kind of person. The moon is very comfortable in Cancer. That's its natural ruler. So we call that domicile. And it makes it to where your instinct, your intuition, your ability to read people's true intentions is very spot on. And your Aries sun is ready to act. So if you already have a strong emotional bond with someone, they could call you at midnight, hey, I need you now, and you would go. They don't have to, you don't have to get talked into things. You don't have to think things through a lot. You don't think, well, logically, that doesn't make sense. Let's make sure X, Y, and Z checks out. No, you're someone's ride or die. You're there, no questions asked. You know who they are already. You don't need words or logic to make you move. Once someone has your heart, they have it, and that's it. You can be very loyal to people. The moon in itself is a very changeable position. So, wherever the moon is in your chart, you're likely to experience change in this area. For you, it's in the 11th house of friendships or organizations, groups that you might identify with or feel some type of connection to. So you might find that throughout your lifetime, you go through many different types of friendships. Maybe people come and go. Maybe the things that you thought you were interested in and wanted to be part of earlier in life, maybe that's changed many times over for you in adulthood. But it's something that is a natural ebb and flow. So you don't really have to force it. The gift here is that the tide will bring in something that you're ready for next, and you trust the divine timing of that in your life. You trust that when one friendship has run its course, another one, a better one for who you are now, is on its way. And you find that your goals, 11th house is also what we're working towards, like the fruits of our labors. And you find that in time that you can trust that the things that you do want in life later down the road, you are seeing that they're coming, and you don't have to have such solid black and white uh, checklists of what you think success looks like. You can kind of trust that when you do your best, that good things are going to come. And if they go again, that something else is going to come to you. It's also the sign of your emotional security. So our first relationship with mother is usually our most intimate that we experience right away. It doesn't have to be mom, but it usually is somebody like that that you completely rely on physically and emotionally for your needs. While as we grow up in life, we still have that same need. We can care for ourselves, but we still have this place where we need some type of emotional security. So for you with the sign in Cancer, it makes it that you really have this need to feel secure and safe with someone emotionally. You can be moody at times, and you need to know that somebody is still going to love you through your hot and cold moments, that they're not going to run away when things get rough. And you need to know that you feel this level of unconditional love from them. That's what the Cancer energy is. It's the energy that you use for others to help them feel safe, that they can be who they are, is the gift of the Cancer moon. You naturally help people feel that they're in a safe place to just be whoever they are. And they feel that from you. And in return, you're looking for that from someone else. That unconditionally, just like the love of a mother to her children in most cases, that there is nothing they can do or say that would change how you feel about them and how they feel about you. So it's not an easy thing to fill, right? Because in life, sometimes you don't know who those people are until you see that they're not that person when times do get rough. So that's part of that changeability. Sometimes you have to go through people, relationship, friendships to really see that they actually aren't, that maybe they were a fair weather friend. They weren't who you wanted them to be and who you needed them to be for your long term emotional security. But in life, your moon sign, that theme is still going to be there. That is how you're going to deeply connect. Your truest, deepest relationships need to have that emotionally safe space for you to be a really fulfilling relationship. So that's your big three: two fires, one water. So it makes you a very emotional, sensitive person. You can really deeply connect with people. And I see, just looking here, that theme continues with you, because when we move on to your little three, the Mercury, Venus, and Mars, you have the same situation going on. So now in reverse, or inverse, excuse me, we have a water, water, fire. So you go from having more fire than water to more water than fire. And now I'm just like, this girl is swimming in emotional energy. She is confident, she's optimistic, she's brave, she's loyal, and she's very compassionate, emotional, and more sensitive than people might think. Sometimes that Aries energy is such a yang, some would say masculine, such a, like a strong, like a strength, this warrior, Mars ruled, don't try me energy, that it can overshadow a lot of different things, especially since your sun is running the show as your chart ruler and is exalted. Your Mercury, or excuse me, your Venus is in Aries too. So I feel like sometimes you might have this more like don't try me thing going on. But really, with all that water, I feel like sometimes you can actually be like a real softy in the best way, very attuned to other people's emotional energies and knowing when to be compassionate and understanding and healing to other people when they need it too. The key here is that these people who you show that side to have talked to your moon and your rising, that you were able to truly be yourself and they were still there for you. And then when that happens, when that magic connects, then you can be the same to them. And that's where you really shine, is when you're able to provide that soft, gentle energy to someone that you love too. So that was a side note, but okay, so Venus here has a few conversations going on. If you look at your chart, it's wild, just like you. There's so much going on. All these planets are talking to each other. They're really trying to work together here, which is beautiful. No one's really left out of the conversation in you. You have a lot of energy. It's just like this wheel that's almost completely divided. So when we break it into quadrants, the only one that really isn't filled is the first quadrant. But the first quadrant, I feel like, is where you get your personality. You're spending a lot of energy trying to figure out who you are personally to yourself, the relationship with yourself and what you have and how you communicate that message in a daily life. It makes sense then that you don't really have all that, because you already have such a strong sense of self in this sun ruled chart. Why waste energy building more of that up? Jupiter's in your first house. Your presence is larger than life already. Not that you're physically larger, your presence is larger than life. You have a Leo rising, you have the spotlight, you have an exalted sun. You don't need a lot of energy in the first house. And your chart knows that. The chart always tells the same story all around. So your energy is well divided in the other houses. You're looking for ability to be creative, to connect with people and partnerships, see what you can build together with someone else. And then you're also looking for some spiritual connection with people who know that life is not just all about the daily grind and material things. You also are looking to learn more about the the spiritual truths and the group mentality instead of just the individual. So I keep moving away from what I'm trying to talk about. This is why these videos go so long. But in the Venus, so now we're going back. Your Venus in Aries. The point I was trying to make before I scatterbrained was there's so many aspects talking to Venus. So in your life, you're probably somebody that people find very charming and um, magnetic, in a sense that an Aries Venus person either falls in love quickly or people fall in love with them quickly. It doesn't take long for your energy to catch and mesh with someone else. You're you're very engaged in new relationships with other people, whether it goes happy ever after or straight to hell, you're all in. So it doesn't matter. You're going to be invested in people and connections, and you want to find, a sense of harmony and love and, find the beauty in everyone through these relationships. But that's not always the case because the Aries person also wants to be independent. So the issue for you is you have so much energy to give to someone and you want loyalty from someone because that's what you're willing to give to, but you never want to lose who you are in it either. And sometimes with this Venus talking to everybody in the chart, it's kind of like, I want love. Like, let's not forget that. I know I'm a strong person. And I know when it comes to it, I won't sacrifice who I am for somebody else because that's a boundary that I won't cross. I am going to be myself. But your chart saying, like, but please don't forget that love in my life is very important. You have an eighth house Venus in Aries. So you need a relationship. You need to feel intimately connected to another person in this life. And it needs to be somebody who is strong enough in their own person that you being a strong personality isn't going to scare them or make them feel like they need to overpower you. You never are going to do well with the battle of the wills. You're not into that. You can go down into a level of fighting and aggression when that happens. It's better to accept that you really want a loving relationship and be intimately connected. This can be with a romantic partner, a business partner. Sometimes the eighth house can also be like joint efforts to create resources. So if you go into business with someone else, your seventh house is has your Mars in it. So sometimes there can be some energy in that can be combative, but it's also a great um, driver for ambitions. So I wouldn't doubt if you've had partnerships with people that sometimes blow up in your face, but you never lose sight of who you are and you're willing to try again. The Aries Venus is just relentless. It brings the Mars war energy to love, which it sounds silly and sometimes not the most Venus perception that we have, but it's like that's who you are. You're willing to fight for who you are. And it makes it more exciting. It lights people on fire. People love your energy and your enthusiasm for life and how you want to live it. And they really like that about you. It gets you into relationships a lot. Ready to go. Let's do it. Let's try this. Let's live. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to do it. If it doesn't work out, then fine. I'll dust myself off and I'll do something different next time or try somebody else. One of the aspects you have going on to your Venus was a pretty tight one, but there's so much going on here. Okay, I think it's that trine right there, that Chiron Venus trine, that blue line. So that's a strength here. That's where this Leo energy that you have of needing to create, be talented, express who you are. When the Chiron's there, it kind of usually means that somewhere along the line, early childhood, sometimes past lives, no, things that are not always super accessible because it's in the 12th house. It's suppressed. It's not always like a clear, oh yes, I remember this happened to me. It damaged my pride and my ego, all those Leo things. It made me feel like I couldn't share my real talents with people because I was put down about it. It wasn't good enough. It was too much. Sometimes Leo people or fire people get told, you're being too much, be smaller, be less than that, fit in, don't be noticed, tone it down. And that hurts over time. And whether you're aware of that or not, that's kind of what the wound says here. There's this inner voice or this subconscious feeling that people just want you to calm down and be less than who you really are because it makes them feel uncomfortable or judged or like they're not doing enough in their own right to shine as bright as you. That's just human nature sometimes, unfortunately. But you have a really nice blessing here with your Venus, your desire to be loved and your desire to love others, your ability to see beauty in people and in relationships really is your healing energy to your own self, your inner child, who needs to hear that you were born to take up space and to shine in your own life and to express yourself however you want to, because every time you do that, you're encouraging someone else to do it too. And that's what people need. And that's how they really are attracted to you too. So with Venus involved, it's saying you're actually helping people be able to love themselves too by every time that you decide to go for it. Every time that you say, I don't care if I was told that I was being too much, I'm going to encourage someone else to not be silent in their own story. So it's a really strong, I think it's like a 0 degree orb for you. It's like one of the tightest aspects in your chart, and it's very powerful. It's a fire. So it is you, it's your energy. You can take that and really set people on fire with it. It's a good way to connect with people and make you more real also when they get to see any type of insecurity or pain that you had and that you choose to love and see the beauty in humanity anyway, and that you haven't given up on love or on loving yourself. The Leo is really about the self, and the Aries Venus is very independent. I think it's the more in relationships that you can really love that inner child in you and be connected and not sacrificing that energy, the more that you're successful in love, because they know right away that you're not backing down from you're not going to be a smaller person to make room for someone else. That's not part of your deal. All right. So how are we doing on time? Pretty good. Okay, so Mercury and Mars are the last of the little three. And your Mercury is in Pisces and your Sun is in Aries. So sometimes that can be a little tricky. So a lot of people have Mercury and the Sun in the same sign because think about it, Mercury is really close to the Sun. So a lot of times they're moving through the same sign at the same time. But yours is actually in a different sign and a different house. So there is a disconnect, but that almost makes sense to me with your fire water energy. There is a little bit of a disconnect here because sometimes water energy and fire energy can put each other out, right? Fire is this confident, going energy, this forward moving yang energy. And it is here to express and be seen. And water is more of a yin energy. It is intuitively introspective and it can be patient. It's not always reacting. Sometimes it's just observing and letting things spiritually simmer. So you have those two different energies in very accessible portions of your personality. So if Mercury is what we think about, what we talk about, how we express ourselves, in the seventh house, you have the ability here to engage people in communication and partnerships in a Piscean way of being a compassionate energy. Mercury doesn't love being in Pisces. It's a little bit too emotional or just not always finding the words. You might find sometimes that you have this feeling and you know what you're feeling, but you can't always find the words to say it. But the gift here is you are able to communicate emotions like no one else. So when you start laughing or crying or being bubbly or any of the emotions, people understand your feelings and your emotion and they're able to connect with you on that level. So you don't always have to find the words. If you're, in the house of relationship, if you're looking to relate to someone, if you're trying to, let's say, be on a date night with your spouse or lover or whatever, and, you know, don't make it about writing them a poem or maybe Pisces is very artistic, but you're not always going to send your true feelings through a text. This is the kind of sign where you would do a lot better to FaceTime someone if you can't be directly with them. But if it's something about really connecting and communicating, a Pisces Mercury in the house of relationship is really going to benefit from exchanging this real spiritual energy. So anytime you can be physically connected with your partner, you're going to be able to communicate your true self a lot easier than if there's any type of just relying on intellectual vocabulary and writing and speaking, logical skills. Your strength really comes from in your energy exchange, your spiritual vibration of connection that's beyond the writing and the speaking portion. So I hope that makes sense. Your Mars is also in Pisces, and as you have this Aries energy, I was surprised to see Pisces as the Mars. I was expecting another fire when I first pulled your chart up, but it just kind of further signifies this Piscean, like intuitive and compassionate force that you have that makes you a little bit more sensitive and considerate, especially in relationships. That's your seventh house. But with the Mars being there, can also make you feel like that's something that you're really you're driven to find in another person. You need somebody who physically excites you with all your fire energy, but you also need somebody who has some level of spirituality about them. You're not going to connect really well or be really attracted to, since Mars can also be our sexual attraction, our drives. Your level of sexual intimacy or any type of intimacy needs to be real intimacy. So while you have this Aries Venus that will jump in head first, love at first sight, you're really going to be the people that really attract you and grab your attention. They're going to be people that are spiritually connected somehow, or they have they're not egocentric people. They're concerned about things bigger than themselves or about humanity at large, or they're maybe religious, spiritual. They want to connect on a spiritual level, and they're not caught up in what is about them. It's not about them. Maybe it's about you, or maybe it's about us, or maybe it's about all of us. They're not just going to be just caught in this hamster wheel or rat race. They're deeper than that, and you need that. You're inspired by that, and it gets you excited, and you want to learn more, and you want to swim into the depths of consciousness with them, and that's what you're looking for. Okay, so that is the big three, the little three. We did talk about an aspect. I want to talk about the nodes to wrap up, and I think that'll be good. I also did want to mention before I forget, It doesn't look like you have any ninth house or Sagittarian things going on. Your second house and your 10th house are also empty. Um, Taurus energy is absent. When I see that kind of stuff just jump out to me, it just not so much 10th house because you have a Capricorn thing going on. So I would just say sometimes it's fun to surround yourself with the energy that you don't have to help fill in the pieces of your own puzzle. So I would say if you can find yourself some Sagittarius friends, you'll mesh really well with your fire energy. I think that would be an easy friendship. And I think that they would help you with the big questions that excite you. Sagittarius is known for asking big questions too. It looks like your seventh house. You would be inspired by that and you would relate to their action, adventure seeking energy. So if you don't already have ninth house or Sagittarian friends, I would keep an eye out for when that crosses your path because sometimes the universe will give us things like that when we don't have it already. And other than the Aquarius Saturn, I don't see a lot of air in your chart unless I'm missing it somewhere. So the ability to visualize, to communicate effectively, and to get the conversation started. Our air sign friends can be social lubricants of the zodiac. They can build the bridges of connection and really help you get the party started, so to speak. You have a lot of energy to give and a lot of relationships to be made and a lot of expression to do. And I think an air sign relationship would really help inspire you, but to help actually bring you to the groups of people that you need to really fulfill that Leo rising energy. So I would also grab a air sign friend. I would have said earth too, just to bring some grounding to you, but we're about to talk about that now. So we're getting a little bit past time here, but let's talk about your nodes real quick, and that'll be the end here. So your south node is in Cancer, and that is also the sign of your moon. So you're already familiar with this energy here. But when it comes to the nodes, our situation's a little different. And if you believe in evolutionary astrology, you believe that it's possible that we had lives before this. And the south node then would be something that we've already accomplished in a past life. We excelled in this area. We come into this life being masters of that. It is our skill set. It's our gift now that we can show others so effortlessly because we have mastered it before. But in this life, we come back and we choose to go to the opposite node. We want to experience this now. So we're going to learn to let go of the south node, of all the gifts that come effortlessly to us, to embark on this journey, to feel a new experience in our soul. And we want to work towards that. We want all the experiences in our chart, every struggle and strength to help us on this journey to get to our north node. That is where we're going this life. Your north node is in Capricorn in the fifth house. So when you have a Capricorn north node, it means that you really want to become the authority figure in your own life. You want to release the Cancer tendency of codependency or childlike personas. And you want to develop into a self-disciplined, mature, authority figure of your own life. You no longer will need to look up to people who you feel are more skilled or powerful or more authoritative than you are. You're willing to do the work. You're going to take the steps. You're going to have a focused track, and you're going to achieve long-term goals in this life. Cancer, south node of letting your dreams go or pushing things off because someone else needs you more, or not being in the mood to pursue goals, or getting lost in the comfort and companionship of another. All those things, you don't want to live there anymore. You want to go to the North Node of being successful in your own doing without any codependent relationships and without any excuses. And you're going to do it whether you're motivated or not because you're self disciplined and you're mature and you understand that this takes time and it's not something that you're ever going to give up. You're creating the foundation and the structure of your life so that you can sit at the top of the mountain one day and say, I did it. I got there one step at a time. I was focused and I was diligent and I was consistent in my pursuit. So that's all those qualities that you're trying to master. The house is where? So in the fifth house, this is the house that's naturally ruled by Leo or the sun of self-expression. So this all goes back. The chart always talks completely. It always comes back around. So we go back again to that Chiron and that Leo rising. Whatever that inner child of not being able to express itself, or your Leo rising in general, of just feeling that you have so much talent to share. Do they notice me? Do they feel, am I appreciated? Am I recognized? Are they receiving my talents and energy the way that I want to be expressed? Am I creating something that people are realizing its actual genuine value? That's the question of Leo rising, and it's the question of your Chiron. You think about your descendants in Aquarius, the other side of you is Aquarius, is the energy of not needing any type of feedback, the originality of walking to the beat of its own drum, regardless of who is looking. That's Aquarius. They want to be part of a group because they're group minded, but they're going to do things their own way. Sometimes it can be seen as eccentric or rebellion, and they don't care. They're going to do it anyways. They're not interested in other people's opinions. Sometimes they get kicked out of the group for that, but they really are the innovators, and everybody eventually sees that they had some type of genius about them. The other side is the Leo rising of the person who needs to be the individual, right? And needs to be expressive in their self and needs to be noticed and needs to feel the feedback. So where Aquarius is one among many, Leo is to stand and shine in its own right. So your fifth house North Node is saying the same thing. It's saying this is the house of creation, of play, of being in love with being alive, of being confident and creative. This is, I have something here that I need to make, do, perform, play. It's really enjoying the gifts of being alive, which fire signs do so well, but it's in the sign of Capricorn, of doing it because I did the hard work to do it. I had a realistic vision and I was methodical in my movements. And I didn't just give it up because other people in my group minded thought didn't approve of it. So your South Node in the 11th house of my groups, my friends, my people that I check in with, are they approving this? Do they like this? Do they think I'm great? That's the South Node, the Cancer energy of just making everyone else feel comfortable. That is to be released, and you're moving into this independent creative energy of not being interested in group mindedness. You're not concerned if someone else doesn't like it or feels like they're not going to appreciate it. So it's really all of this makes me just feel like you're here to really be in love with being alive and really express yourself in your truest, highest potential. And it's going to take effort. It's going to take that earth energy. So wherever you can ground yourself in life, you have Uranus and Neptune in there too. So they're going to help you be grounded. They're going to send you people with Capricorn energy to help show you. So the outer planets are the universe's ability to help us get to where we need to go. Uranus is our sudden changes. Neptune is sometimes confusion, but it can also be idealism and great creative expression, um, deep spirituality movements. These energies come into your life suddenly and almost like channeled with that Neptune conjunct your Uranus. So you just have like sudden bursts of genius, is what it looks like to me. And you're being called to do something about it, express it, create it, live it, own it, and work at it. Capricorn is work. So you're being called to work towards your fullest creative expression through acts of self discipline, mastery, and being an independent force. Not in the Aries starting a battle or fighting for your rights kind of way, but in a I'm not going to rely on someone else to see this project through with me. I'm self capable, I'm self started, and I'm self motivated to see this all the way through. Okay, I think I will end it there. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope that was insightful. And I am always happy to answer anything that needed to be clarified. And thank you so much for your interest.